Hello and welcome to Non Sequitur News for July 14th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 196. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the visualizer for the Sentient AI.
Welcome, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about a 12-day trip for $60,000, the worst inflation city, best foods to beat the heat, Horrified by delivery, 230-foot Roman villa, transfer of wealth, indie games on Steam sale, UBI about to transform society, I think, Disney data claimed, Gaston denies complicity, and caught in a Riptide saved by Apple Watch. That and a whole lot more. Today we're actually streaming all 7 of our shows in rapid succession. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, start subscribing to ohmTown over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ohmTown, and YouTube, youtube.com/ohmTown. Go over to ohmTown.com and subscribe. Download the podcasts. There are 7 of them under the ohmTown network. All you have to do is search for ohmTown and you'll find us. And you can catch the pod everywhere. But again, everything is powered by ohmTown.com. All right, we've got all 10 of our articles all lined up. I need to fix something real quick. Hold on one second, folks. All right. So you should all hear me just fine. Actually, I'm kind of peaking a little bit there. So let me turn down.
While you're doing that, you can put !NSN in the chat to get the notes for today's show.
True. Thanks. By the way, I do that anyway. So !NSN will pull up today's non sequitur news articles. Yesterday's articles are in the show notes over on YouTube. I don't put them on Twitch because every 60 days Twitch deletes the show. Well, deletes the 60-day video. So, and that means that every month or every other month, I lose upwards of 7 shows in just one day. But over on YouTube and the podcast, the show notes persist, and on the website, they persist. All right, let's get into today. Oh, by the way, you can also hit !pod to get the podcasts. That's the links to the Apple podcasts. And if you hit !show notes, you'll get all of the commands for all of the show notes. Basically, if you want to watch 4-Wheel Tech and you want the show notes, you can actually hit !FWT in the Twitch chat. It's not active over on YouTube, but that's a YouTube thing. Anyway, let's get into today's articles. The very first article is over in Non Sequitur News. The legendary Pan Am is returning, and not Pan Am Games, but the airline Pan Am.
Right, which maybe not all of our listeners have heard of.
Yeah, because it's kind of old school. For aviation fans drawn to the jet age of the 50s and 60s, few things crystallize its allure more than Pan Am. It was back in the time when you could like smoke and what were they? Stewardesses existed.
Oh, yes. Those were the before times.
Yeah. So for generations of travelers, Pan Am symbolized the lofty air travel ambitions of the U.S. In 2025, travelers will be able to get their own Pan Am experience in the friendly skies, probably a whole lot more politically correct. But the trip, which begins in New York City and will feature stops in Bermuda and across Europe, isn't cheap. It's 12 days. The article is actually over at Business Insider, so they're going to have some really cool pictures. John L. Dorman put the article together. It'll cost you $59,950. And maybe all of the wheels will stay on the vehicle.
Oh my, too soon.
Never. is ever soon enough, or
for the wheels to stay on and for the bolts to be installed.
The now defunct airline served as a pioneer in the evolution of commercial air travel, and next year you'll be able to take part in it again. Just save up between now and next year $60,000 so that you can drop it on this. On June 27th,
like everybody can and will, right?
Only 50 passengers. Well, that's a flight that I'd enjoy. The flight will stop in Bermuda, Lisbon, Marseille, London. How do you pronounce that? Is it Foynes? Is it Fons? Fons, Ireland? Foynes?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard of that town.
And then passengers will return to New York on July 8th. If you're on a flight for 12 days with 50 people, you're going to make some fast friends, I suspect. But it's a 757. Yeah, for solo travelers. Oh, wait, the all-inclusive
depends on everybody wearing earbuds and putting up all their don't talk to me.
You'll get to stay in certain places, by the way. The all-inclusive rate for the expedition is $60,000 per person based on double occupancy. So it's $120,000 per couple. For solo travelers, it bumps up to $65,500.
Wow. Well, I guess that's because they out for the lodging part of it.
No, the other person is only worth $5,500.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right. They're not allowed to eat, speak, drink, or take up space. You have to sit in the lap of the other person. They're stored in the luggage compartment after some turbulent air.
Yeah.
So according to AFAR, Pan American World Airways is already planning to craft a 2027 journey to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Legacy Airlines' first flight.
It sounds like you go to some neat locations.
Yeah.
You get to stay in castles and
Dromoland Castle, yeah, in County Clare Island. Savoy in London, Rosewood in Bermuda.
It is an island, though.
I don't think you're allowed to say that. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Hatch Ideas that this city is one of the worst inflation rates in the U.S., and it isn't New York, California, or Florida. What do you think it is? Which
it's
state?
Gotta be like, I'll say Mississippi, which just because
Nope.
I don't think it is Mississippi. I was trying to think of where would it not be.
Oh wow, they still don't expose it. I see it, but it's not here. Like you can't see it on the screen. That's pretty neat. The way that I get to see it and you don't. So Mike Winters over at CNBC.
Did you have a guess?
I already know. Oh, which city?
I mean, before you saw it, but it's a city. Yeah, I said a state.
So
okay, Jackson,
no, I asked
Mississippi will be my guess.
Yeah, I asked you to tell me which state. So it's somewhere in Texas, and I'm gonna guess Austin.
Yeah, that could definitely be it. I mean, because it has had significant growth and real estate investors have really flocked to that area.
Pardon me one second. So yeah, Mike Winters over at CNBC put it together. Dallas-Fort Worth area. Let's see. Prices for everyday items continue to rise across the country, but in some places it's worse than others, especially for residents in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Although the national average dropped to 3%, it has hovered around 5% in Dallas-Fort Worth in 2024. The second only to Honolulu among a selection of 23 major metro areas and higher than other cities known for relatively high cost of living, including New York City and Los Angeles. Inflation in Dallas-Fort Worth has also risen steadily by 1% over the past 2 months, making it the nation's worst city for inflation, according to the study.
I did not know that.
Golly. I wonder what's causing all of that.
Could it be climate change?
looking right into the camera. Come on, folks. Somebody tell me. Go over to the Discord. We have a Discord, by the way. You can follow it via either my profile here on Twitch or over on YouTube or the website or the podcast links, etc., etc., etc. We're all over the place. We even have a Patreon and a TikTok, although I haven't posted anything to the TikTok for a while. I'm a slacker. Anyway, other factors, they say significant housing shortage, along with restricted government policies. What? In the state of Texas? No. They don't have restrictive government policies in a... Never mind. Anyway, other factors include substantial increases in energy prices.
Privatization of energy. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about that.
No. And rising medical care costs have been linked to hospital consolidation. Wait. Again?
Mergers and acquisitions?
Mergers and acquisitions? Son of a gun. Nobody's ever talked about mergers and acquisitions being a problem.
Never in ohmTown.
So other, let's see, what else? Aside from Dallas-Fort Worth, Honolulu is the only other major city in the study with a year-over-year inflation rate that's 5% or higher. And they talk about it. Dallas-Fort Worth, 2-month change, 1%. 1 year change, 5%. Urban Honolulu, 2-month change.
And that's percent, right? It's building off of, I don't think people always get the percentages.
Yeah, year over year change, 5%. So what was the previous year and the previous year and the previous year? This is
right. It could have been because during the pandemic, I'm assuming it wasn't favorable for consumers, right?
So what is the actual inflation rate right now in Dallas-Fort Worth? This is year over year change, 5%.
In 2 months, it's gone up 1%, which is ridiculous. Like 1% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is across 2 months. Yeah,
it's extraordinary. But, you know, there's a lot of big cities which y'all need to move to. Yeah, try that in a small town. Let's go on to the next article. The next article is over it was aggregated into Technology Today, which is a show that's going to be on later today. Best foods for staying hydrated during scorching temperatures. I'm looking at you, Texas. These 6 foods can boost your hydration levels while out in the sweltering heat this summer. Although, I mean, summer's still around, but I don't know. We should have been able to find this article 2 months ago. Get ready for climate change. Giselle Castro Sloboda put this article together at cnet.com. The deck statement is 6 foods can boost your hydration levels out in the sweltering heat this summer.
Well, by the way, there have been similar articles in ohmTown, but it seemed like as we're hitting particular heat waves, this was a good time to put one of these in here.
Gotcha. Strawberries are the perfect portable food to keep you hydrated as long as you keep them nice and chilly and I like a crisp strawberry. I don't like a mushy strawberry. So you should always be sure that you're drinking enough water, especially during dangerous heat wave. Unfortunately, water isn't the only thing you need to survive, so you're going to need electrolytes. Gatorade. They can be found in sports drinks, supplements, certain foods. In addition to keeping you hydrated, they'll help you replenish minerals you sweat out during activity. So, how to tell if you're hydrated? Based on your size, activity level, and how much you sweat. Gabriella Barreto, a registered dietitian and sports nutritionist, says that there's 2 indicators. Your thirst and the color of your pee. And so if you go and get that pee suit from NASA,
oh no,
you'll be able to satiate your thirst just by going pee. Hello.
By the way, though, there is an issue, and this mentions it, like if you have certain medication or vitamins that can actually impact that, and so you don't necessarily have to be alarmed based on that alone.
Taint your pee, huh? So if you have Technicolor urine, you shouldn't worry about it.
I'd probably ask a question first, but if you're on a medication and it's like a weird color, maybe that's because of the medication, but ask your doctor.
Yeah, so I was in a hospital once, where an active duty service member was rushed in. Well, 3 events took place that same day. A person came in screaming that their toddler needed assistance because it shoved a peanut up its nose. And then somebody came in holding their left arm and then came out with a cast on their right arm because they didn't clip in properly to the helicopter and they fell out and broke their arm. And the doctor that I was with explained that sometimes people don't know what the hell's going on. And because we both mentioned that they came in with holding one arm but came out with a cast on the other arm. And then the coup de grace of the night was when a person came in and we found out that they bet if it was appropriate to what would happen if they took a bite out of C4. And so that's why they were brought into the hospital, because they took a bite out of C4. Yeah.
Okay, PSA, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, because if you're curious about what your urine's going to look like, apparently it glows in the dark and shoots rainbows. Anyway. She says the only times you shouldn't be concerned about your color of your urine is during first pee of the morning, because it tends to be dark. All right. Anyway.
Let's get on to the foods.
So which foods are the most hydrating? Yeah, all of that for that. So did they actually talk about it? I mean, where's the watermelon and other melons? I knew that one. It was really funny because I was going to sit there and go, what do you think is going to be the foods? Watermelon
well, we can say what other ones are.
Watermelon is not portable, damn it. Come on. It's not like you can put watermelon in your pocket.
Berries will be on there.
You can't put a watermelon in your backpack. Not even a significant
berries?
Amount. Sure, berries. Okay, and other melons. So be sure to carry your melons around. 92% water. Cucumbers. 95% water. You get vitamin K, magnesium, potassium. And just so you all know out there, you sweat out a lot of salt, and you need salt. And that it's actually a kind of it's a nutrient. It's a carrier. It helps your body absorb water. And so if you don't have enough salt in your system, it doesn't matter how much water you drink, it'll go right through you. You'll pee it out.
By the way, up in the melon section, right above the cucumber title, it said to add some salt for that purpose.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I did a thing once called an eco challenge, and I was the support crew, and the people didn't bring salt pills. And so this was like a 48 hour trip from one side to the other of the range. And you go nonstop. You don't take any breaks. You don't nap. You don't do anything. You just go. And so Navy SEALs were the winners, of course. But yeah. But
they probably had their salt pills.
They were in shape, yeah. And so the people that I was crewing, they didn't have any supplies, and I went around and I tried to get salt pills, and I finally managed to get some salt pills, but they didn't take them, and they ended up dehydrating, and they showed up at my hotel with like puffy lips, really puffy lips, so yeah, we had to call in the sports doctor, and they're like, yeah, y'all should have listened to him. All right. So yeah, you need salt. Too much salt is bad, but not enough salt is just as bad. So get your cucumbers, your squash, your strawberries, your watermelon, bundle it all up together, eat your veggies. Microgreens are actually great. They're actually very rich with vitamins and minerals and hydration as well. So lettuce, depending on the lettuce, doesn't have any nutrition, but depending on the lettuce, it's
like a
rich.
spinach or something is, yes.
Very rich. Yeah. So spinach is high in iron, folic acid, calcium, vitamin C, and A. If you do your blood work and you have enough folic acid and you're eating spinach, don't take folic acid as a supplement because it can cause other bad things. It doesn't easily remove itself from your body. Other vitamins and minerals you just pee out, but that's why your urine is weird colors. And then bok choy is abundant in vitamin K and C, which means any combination of the greens is guaranteed to provide you with a salad full of nutrients. Then citrus fruits, but you should be careful about that because it's a lot of sugar. Oranges, grapefruits, limes, other citrus fruits. Then eat up. Citrus fruits tend to be made of about 80% water, and you get a lot of fiber. And the fiber is great for expelling everything. And if you don't do fiber, then take fiber pills. It actually helps satiate your hunger, but you can still drink to your heart's content, because you can go days and days and days without food, but you can't go days and days and days without water. What the hell was that? Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Internet horrified to see how man's pizza was delivered. I don't think that this is the actual video of that, but Alice Collins over at Newsweek.com put the article together, and that's how it was delivered.
No.
It looks like somebody ripped the top off of a jigsaw puzzle box. This thing, first off, it doesn't look like a very appetizing pizza. Even, look, you had me at pizza, but this thing looks like it was... You know how the Boeing door got sucked out, right?
Right,
and
exactly.
that person's shirt was blown off.
How are all the pieces separate from each other? That's the part that doesn't make any sense.
It was well cut and then thrown around like a football. So, to make matters worse, Jamal of Devon in the United Kingdom Southwest said the driver handed him the empty cardboard box and picked out each piece of individual slices with his bare hands.
Wait, you need to go up to hold on. They fell out of the box.
Yeah, they fell out of the box.
In the bag.
In the bag, yeah. I was getting to that. So, yeah, reached into the bag and pulled out individual slices with his bare hands and placed them on the box. There you go, bro. Jamal said, I knew it wasn't right, and I asked the driver if he was really going to expect me to eat that, and he shrugged and said that he'd have to arrange something with Pizza Hut. Oh, so it was a Pizza Hut pizza.
Right, called, but it wasn't delivered by them.
They blamed the delivery driver. All right. Well, something's got to be done. Make it right. It's your delivery service, right? You allowed Uber Eats. See, they balkanized this. They broke out the delivery service from the main service provider, right? From the pizza maker. Why? Because it was cheaper to not have a driver just burning through cash delivering stuff. But because they're greedy bastards and they want more margin, they have Uber Eats and other external providers. You know what? Hire somebody and pay them a living wage so that they can be a driver. I mean, it's such shit attitude.
This is just outrageous. Plus, it doesn't even look like the person has a regular pizza carrier, but maybe it's just the way it shows in that. But a pizza place would actually have a proper...
Yeah, they'd have all the tools all set up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So the Reddit post has disgusted social media users, and it's since gone viral with over 24,000 votes and 790 comments. This is pretty wild. They posted it in mildly infuriating, which is the subreddit. And somebody posted, this is way beyond mildly infuriating.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that does it justice, but maybe there isn't a very infuriating subreddit or whatever.
And for Pizza Hut to just go, well, it was the delivery driver. No, the liability is
such an
still
opportunity here, right?
Yeah.
They could have been like, "Oh my gosh, we're really sorry. We'll give you a
Here's a
couple of free
coupon.
pizzas
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever," and then they would have turned into a positive.
Yeah. And reprimand the dipshit driver. I mean, if accidents happen, then what should have happened is the driver should have gone back to Pizza Hut and said, "Hey, this pizza,
Right.
something
I
happened."
need to get another pizza and I'll pay for it or whatever. I don't know
Whatever.
how
Yeah.
they work the pay arrangements, but
Yeah. It sucks. But that's what insurance is supposed to be for. So, all right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Archaeology students reveal 230-foot Roman villa with mysterious feature. Numerous animal bones were recovered from the site in the ancient villa, which likely dates back to the 2nd century. The article is over at newsweek.com by Aristos Georgiou. I once said that I loved the idea of doing this until I was told, hey, on this little dig that we're going to go on, there are odds on you're going to find a body. And I said, yeah, I don't think I want to.
not so much.
Yeah. I'm cool with digging up like a Roman hoard of coins or a building or whatever, but yeah. So villas are high-status rural dwellings, the Roman equivalent of a large country estate. The remains of several have been found across the island of Britain. All right, we'll just call it that, the island of Britain.
Yeah, I'm like, is that really
it's the
what
same thing
called?
as Ireland,
But, yeah, I'm not getting
I have
into
a
the
hard
whole
time.
Brexit thing.
Which was mostly occupied by Rome from AD 43 to AD 410. And apparently some students... This is what I love about Britain, and I'm sure that you can do this all across Europe, but particularly in Britain, it seems to be chock-a-block, 4 inches beneath the soil, Roman.
Right, there's just sediment on top of entire ruins, right?
Just everything, yeah. Everything is buried somehow. It's weird how all of that happened. So earlier this year, geophysical survey of the site was conducted by specialists with Time Team. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, neat.
A British TV show focused on archaeological investigations. Geophysical surveys enable researchers to understand what lies beneath the ground where potential archaeological remains may be found using non-invasive techniques, usually side-scanning radar and ground-penetrating radar.
By the way, if you haven't seen Time Team, I think it's available on YouTube, but it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, and they need support. So they have a Patreon that you can subscribe to, and you're notified of all kinds of stuff. So following the geophysical survey, experts from the University of Leicester, or I think it's Leicester or something, Leicester. I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sure. Archaeological Services, or ULIS, led a 2-week excavation of the site in May. By the way, Time Team usually is constrained by a certain amount of dig area and 3 days.
Time, right? Which is always interesting in the UK because of the weather.
Yep. And not just time. I mean, their name is a riff off of the fact that they're an archaeological and sound science. They practice sound science in this. And so their archaeological practices are at parity with researchers. And so apparently their permits allow them to do 3 days worth of digs in a certain amount of space. And they're very picky about what they do. So they do all kinds of stuff on the surface before they go actually penetrating the ground. And I love watching their show. So definitely go and check it out, and then subscribe to them over on Patreon. This excavation will feature a future video on Time Team's YouTube channel. It represents the first time that the archaeologists have physically investigated the site, with the students uncovering a number of remains. The stone foundations were substantial, suggesting the building had at least 2 floors, while fragments of wall plaster and mosaic tiles indicate that it was decorated in Roman style. And they excavated within the villa, identifying a room ending in an apse, a kind of semicircular recess, as well as a corridor and other rooms with mosaic floors. So I'm really curious. They recovered bones, animal bones from ditches at the site, suggesting that animal husbandry played a role in the life of the villa, according to Walton. So
Wow.
they found a Byzantine bucket, apparently. That is such a
and then
trip.
they thought something could be due to plow damage, which is interesting.
Yeah, and that's something that seems to be pretty prevalent. If the plow goes too deep, they churn up little mosaic tiles, and then they go, oh, there must be something there. But if you were to historically have taken a picture during the season, you would actually be able to see the crop discoloration of the soil. It would be different where the Roman ruins are because it has a different nutrient mix. And so you can actually see the soil discoloration, the plants grow at a different rate. I mean, it's all pretty fascinating. Even hills, there are certain hills that'll have like a little dip, and they're like, oh yeah, that's where a Roman fort might be, or some property might be. It's pretty neat. So 3 years ago, ULIS archaeologists announced the discovery of another Roman villa located in the neighboring county of Rutland, featuring an extraordinary mosaic depicting a scene of the legendary Trojan War from ancient Greek mythology. And there are a lot of episodes of Time Team because it existed for like 10 years or something like that, and then fell offline.
Right. It was rebooted recently, right?
And then
in
rebooted.
The last few years.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like basically during the pandemic, it spun back up, which I thought was really brave. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Boomers are about to offload trillions of dollars to the next generation. Baby boomers will pass on a total of $83.5 trillion to the next generation in the next 20 to 25 years.
Wow. Well, I hope for all of our listeners that they're on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of wealth. I don't know what to say about it. Julia Carbonaro.
There's a lot of boomers, right? They've always talked about how there's such a obviously it's in the name, but there's a large population in that age range.
It's in the name.
So that's part of why it is. That's not the only reason.
Correct. 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do something.
Well, I like the graphic, though. Although it's not directly related, it fits. It shows a bunch of people sitting on a stack of bundled $100 bills, I guess.
Yeah, nice. So about 9 trillion of this total estimated sum will be first transferred horizontally between spouses, primarily in the Americas. This year's UBS Global Wealth Report estimates. As women generally live longer than men and couples often have an age gap, the inheriting spouses are expected to own and hold on to this wealth for an average of 4 years before passing it on to the next generation, the report estimates. More than 10% of the estimated $83.5 trillion is likely to be transferred to the next generation by women, UBS experts rate. It will be Gen Xers and Millennials, respectively, born between 1965 and 1980 and 1981 and 1996, who will inherit this huge sum, as the average age of recipients is estimated by UBS experts to be roughly 59. So, yeah. Let's see. The amount transferable wealth per person in the Americas will be nearly 1.2 billion. No, 1 million. Sorry, I read it wrong. Will be nearly 1.2 million, much more than the Asia Pacific and Europe, Middle East, and Africa group, which remains respectively about 100,000 and 300,000. Wow. Yeah. And people are complaining about the economy.
Well, that's a huge disparity. But I also know there's a disparity in what the cost of living is, of course, in different countries.
Yeah, and there's a lot of historical significance about where the wealth was gained, how the wealth was gained, why the wealth was gained, etc., etc. And some people will say hard work, but let me tell you, I just watched a video about marbles being made, and they're being primarily, a lot of them are being made in what amounts to, I don't know. I don't know how to categorize this. The people there, I don't know where it was being made. Let's just say I don't think OSHA would do anything but spontaneously combust and just kind of wink out of existence.
Unsafe, unequitable,
Yes,
working conditions, go on and on.
Yeah, and they don't have any other choice, so they have to do this, or they don't make enough money to put food on the table, and just the environment was horrendous. But when you don't know anything other than that, then you have aspirations that you know that there's something better, but you can't achieve it. And yeah, so it all just kind of, when people sit there and grouse that they have to do hard work, they don't, nobody in the United States knows what hard work is.
Most people don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Some do.
Most. Yeah. 99% probably do not. We have a perspective of it, but yeah, just look around, folks. So yeah, there's going to be a tremendous amount of wealth being transferred, and we'll see what happens with society. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the WarCrafters channel. A heap of award-winning indie games are currently on sale at Steam. So if you don't want to have to deal with the boomers' transfer of wealth, then you can just download a couple of games. And as I was listening to people chatting in a stream today, discussion after discussion basically centered around avoiding the realities of what's going on in the world. And so this is a great way to disengage from, the complexities of life.
And that's important for your health, mental health, physical health, is to have some downtime.
Yep. And that's why I do, and I should say that's why we do the Non Sequitur News show and the 6 other shows, because we need not just diversion, but awareness of what's going on in the world, but at a metered rate of intake. And so this show in particular jumps around quite a bit, i.e. non sequitur. So this article is over in WarCrafters, and again, it's called A Heap of Award-Winning Indie Games Are Currently on Sale at Steam. The article is actually from PC Gamer, and we have the snippet that says, the annual Independent Games Festival has been responsible for highlighting a bunch of each year's best indie games, from critical darlings to student projects. Right now, Steam is partnering with IGF and indie producer or publisher Crunching Koalas for the IGF Celebration Days, a sale that runs from until July 20th and offers discounts on IGF award winners from both this and previous years. It says here that this means that you can get Sam Barlow and Half Mermaid's brain-bending cinemaphile puzzler Immortality for 50% off, its lowest price yet. Or you can get a whole host of other games. Now, the article was put together by Jody McGregor over at PCGamer.com. That's how I lie in my tub.
With the cucumber slices?
Yeah. I make my hair longer and dye it blonde. Hell, I even give it more body. And I plug my eyebrows, and then I put on a face mask, and I lean back in my bubble bath and put my cucumber slices on to stay hydrated in the scorching heat.
Somehow, I don't think so.
The stunned silence is deafening. So yeah, you can get a bunch of games. They have about 10 listed throughout the article, but I won't go through all of them. Go and check it out.
Have you played any of them?
No. Well, FTL. FTL I was a backer of. So I've always liked that game. But I play games for do you remember the article about $19 billion worth of games are untouched in Steam?
Yes.
I'm probably about 8. So yeah, I buy the game and then I play it for a little while, and I was thinking of starting up a group on Twitch called ADHD Gaming. And then I found out that there's already an ADHD gaming group that exists. But But that's kind of me. Like, I like to play a game for a little bit, and I'm like, okay, that's neat, and then move on. And I have to have that forced dynamic change. Something has to be forced on me to do it. And the news is definitely right for me. So it's always dynamic. It's always shifting a little bit one way or another. Although I do really like the game Once Human. But we'll talk about that some other time. Anyway, go check out these games. But be sure to follow the link through ohmTown over to PC Gamer. Show Jody McGregor some attention for this article. And then follow the links. They've got several of them that are embedded. That'll take you to the game over on Steam. Let's keep going. Sound good?
Sounds good.
This next article is over in Technology Today. Money for nothing. Is universal basic income about to transform society? And I'm going to say no, because what's going to end up happening is suppliers primarily, and then knock-on greedy bastards are going to raise the price equivalent to the free money, quote-unquote free money. The concept of guaranteed income is gaining traction as a solution to the impact of AI and a way to encourage more rewarding and socially valuable work. I think both of those rationales are bullshit. Are bull hockey. Sorry, I'm trying to be PG. The concept of a guaranteed income gaining traction is only, I think it's a thought experiment, because once it breaks out of experimental into standard policy, I think the economic equation is going to shift, because they know that there's now guaranteed everybody going to have, in this case, 1,400 euro more.
Well, I agree. I think they're going to go, people have some more income to play with, so I need to get a piece of that.
Yep. And the people that need it really do need it. And the people who don't necessarily need it, if they do get it, right, they'll sock it away. If you don't need it, you'll put it away. You'll leave it in your bank, or you'll invest it. If you're smart, you'll invest it. If you're Mayor Watt, you don't. But anyway, in return for the guaranteed salary of just over 1,400 euro a month from the Irish government, all the 27-year-old artist had to do was fill out a biannual questionnaire about her well-being and how she spends her time. It was like winning the lottery, which is, I think, a wrong mindset to have. They were in such disbelief. She'll receive it until September 2025. And let's go over to the article. It's over at The Guardian. The person, by the way, is an artist, but the author of this article is Donna Ferguson. The concept of a guaranteed income is gaining traction as a solution to the impact of AI and a way to encourage more rewarding and socially valuable work. So artists are going to get $1,400.
Well, that's a lot of money for many artists, because it's very hard to make a living in that field.
Right, but there's going to be people out there that go, well, that's a choice that they made. I don't know why everybody else has to pay 1,400 euro to this person.
And some people would argue that society benefits from art, but anyway.
So they say it covers their living expenses, food, rent, day-to-day stuff. The concept of a guaranteed basic income might seem novel or neoteric, but it dates back to 1795 when the American founding father Thomas Paine suggested a national fund should pay every adult, rich or poor, a ground rent of £10 a year until the age 50. And that's basically, I would probably say that that's closer to Social Security, where it starts at 65 now, 62 and a half or whatever it is. I don't even remember, because it shifted. My understanding is you can't retire and get Social Security until you're 65, right? I
think it depends, but there's phased things. I think the earliest possible is like 62, right? But then there's a penalty. And
yeah. So, Earth is the common property of the human race, he argued, so everyone has been collectively dispossessed by the introduction of the system of landed property and was entitled to compensation. I'm sure Thomas Paine would go over really well in some circles today, and then they lean into the artificial intelligence and other things, perhaps taking jobs. Tesla founder and Twitter owner Elon Musk said last year, before speculating there will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want one for personal satisfaction, but AI will do everything. But he said other wacky crap.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yet for many workers, the advance of AI continues to be alarming. In March, after analyzing 2,200 tasks in the UK economy covering every type of job, a model created by the Institute for Public Policy Research predicted that 59% of tasks currently done by humans, particularly women and young people, can be affected by AI in the next 3 to 5 years, which is a quote that I've been, not a quote, it's a prediction that I've been making.
A concept, yeah.
Yeah. Mine is a little bit more succinct. If I can turn what you do into an equation, then I can replace you with a bot. And the only thing that needs to take place is it making economic sense to replace you with a bot that I never have to retrain. I never have to worry about going out and taking a break or getting drunk, or having a fight with a significant other, or being upset with the boss. Nothing impacts the performance other than a complete breakdown of some mechanical part. And then I call somebody in, they fix it and get the hell out. And I don't have to worry about health insurance or OSHA, whatever, nothing. So you tell me what today's business person is interested in, and I'll tell you how it's going to be automation and continue to be. And over a decade ago, there was a video called Humans Need Not Apply posted on YouTube that has basically been part and parcel to discussions that I've been having ever since and before. So anyway, the Commonwealth of the world and of humanity should by rights belong to us, says Howard. That's Dr. Neil Howard, from an international development social protection researcher at the University of Bath. It has been appropriated by the few, and that leads to many to either have to struggle to survive or simply not effectively do so. So there's justice underpinning the claim of UBI. But greedy bastards don't care about justice. They want your money. But when nobody is around, nobody's capable, nobody can build what you want with all that money you greedy bastards have, what are you going to do with it? I guess you can sleep on it. You can Scrooge McDuck a pool.
Yeah, exactly. You can swim in it.
So, contrary to expectations, he says it shouldn't be necessarily lead to people doing less work. It would enable them to do better work or to invest in their time more socially useful activities. But social justice or social causes or socially beneficial is highly subjective. And I'm sure that there's countless people out there that will go, well, $1,400. I just need to sit around. I don't really care about all the rest of the stuff, but yeah. So another argument here is humans need to do work that feels valuable psychologically, says Cleo Goodman, a UBI expert at the think tank Autonomy. It's baked into us. It is complete nonsense to suggest that there's a faction of society that just wants to sit around on the sofa all day drinking beer and watching TV. No, there absolutely is. I think it's hubris to suggest otherwise. We want to spend a fair amount of our time doing something that makes us proud. She believes that everyone has the potential. Believes. Everybody can believe whatever they want, and it's still bullshit. I mean, bull hockey. Gosh. Anyway. Yeah. Is it going to shift? I don't think it's going to shift anything. It's going to be adapted to.
I think it'll shift once a generational change has occurred, but I don't think it will before then.
Yeah, we're 25 years out because we need the biggest problem is the sociological force, the sociopathy that's been rising to power. And not until that generation of basically lead burdened society passes away, are you going to get a societal shift where it's a little bit more soundly based in society. Anyway, barring other things, manipulation of social groups, etc. Anyway, let's keep moving. Hacking group now claims to have stolen over 1 terabytes of data from Disney. This is over on the WarCrafters channel. And it says here that reports state that Disney's been hacked. Disney appears to be on top of the world when it comes to content creation right now. In addition to the new Deadpool movie coming out this month, plenty of Deadpool or Disney properties have upcoming or active releases. Many Marvel fans are looking forward to Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, which caught even more attention when it got a trailer showing off what Unreal Engine 5 was capable of. Well, this is a little bit different. A hacking group claims to have stolen over 1 terabyte of data from Disney. Bill, I'm just going to say Bill, put the article together. The highlights are Disney faces a potential data breach by hacker group Nullbulge, which reports of stolen concept art and personal info. Although similar to past leaks in the gaming industry, Disney's response and potential legal action against the hackers remain uncertain. So,
wonder what kind of data they stole. For example, is it actual films or?
Well, it says it's unknown for certain what the data may contain, and there is little information presently available that verifies the veracity of these claims. Claims state that the Nullbulge accessed Disney's Slack server and collected information about the company's upcoming projects, including concept art for Disney games. These reports also suggest that the login details and personal details of workers were gathered as well. Disney hasn't responded. Estimated cost of the Rockstar leak that this is similar to was $5 million, and that leak contained over 90 videos of the highly anticipated Grand Theft Auto 6. You recently saw Grand Theft Auto, the original, which was a top-down.
Oh, the
like MS-DOS
the
game.
Retrospective or whatever on YouTube, where it looked very old school.
Yeah, old school would be the word. So apparently, I don't think any of these pictures are from the leak, but show the power of Unreal and some Disney properties. And yeah. Anyway, Disney hack echoes Insomniac and Rockstar's hack. All right, let's go on to our last article. An Australian swimmer caught in riptides, rescued using his Apple Watch. 49-year-old experienced swimmer in New South Wales used his Apple Watch to call for help after being caught in an ocean current that was dragging him further out to sea. Sherman's Apple Watch was credited with saving his life. That's
okay, so what did that call go like?
Yeah, hey,
where are you located? Wait, I'm at,
a mile out.
Lifeguard stand or whatever. Oh, wait, no, I'm at the next one.
Yeah, really. Like in the movie Airplane, where they're like, now boarding at gate 12, gate 13, yes. Gate 14.
Exactly.
Because the plane kept skidding down the runway. So Charles Martin over at appleinsider.com put the article together. So Byron Bay resident Rick Shearman had been out for his usual morning body surf at Tallow Beach when he got deluged by strong breaking waves that were carrying him further and further away from land. He was eventually carried out 1 kilometer, 0.6 miles offshore, trying to find a channel to get back to land. Copped a couple of big ones on the head and was held under for a while. I started to panic a bit and cramped up under the water there. It became clear that after about 20 minutes, I wasn't going to make it back in and I needed some assistance. Fatigued by the effort to avoid breaking waves and unable to get back to the beach. Breaking waves nearly half a kilometer out?
Yeah, that's kind of intense.
Oh, no, not half a kilometer. A kilometer, half a mile. So it became clear after about 20 minutes I wasn't going to make it back. So Shearman remembered the emergency function of his Apple Watch. While treading water, he located the SOS function on the device and called the Australian emergency number 000. Stayed on the line with emergency services for an hour and updated them as to his approximate location. Rescue helicopter was dispatched and winched him into the craft to take him back to the beach.
I mean, he's really fortunate. A lot of people, well, first of all, wouldn't have thought to do it, right? They would have gone into panic mode, but that is a long time to keep yourself afloat, particularly if you're fatigued.
Well, look at this guy. He's no slouch. I mean, he looks like he can hold his own, but wow, can you imagine like realizing you're getting exhausted, you got a cramp, you're half a mile out, a full kilometer out.
But then he had to wait another hour. I mean, that is, I don't know. Yeah. But you can see from the picture, right? The waves are pretty.
Yeah,
if that's a wave right there, they're really high waves,
right? Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I've got. Look, I'm a diver. I'm a scuba diver. I've done dives. My actual first ocean dive, open water dive, was in waves like this, swells this big, 15-foot swells, and my first dive into the water, I timed it wrong. And so I fell the equivalent of...
like 30 feet or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Depending on...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it rose up and I was slow to drop into the water. And so the water dipped away as I was falling towards it. And so it was basically the equivalent of falling 15 feet.
That sounds very relaxing.
My rag popped out of my mouth and my mask blew off. And yeah, it was a nightmare. But anyway, that's how you learn, by screwing up. But this is surreal, because even if you're a strong swimmer, those riptides, they don't care about how strong you are, and they have no tired status. They'll drag your body out there. So take it seriously, because if this guy can't fight that tide, the average Joe cannot. And I don't think that dude's an average Joe. So anyway. All right, folks, that is it. Wear your Apple Watch. This is the newest version of it, by the way, that has the SOS feature. Not just SOS, but it has satellite features. And is much more rugged than previous iterations of it. This is the latest. Anyway, I might be upgrading. I don't know. I like but...
Well, yet again, this is another advertisement for Apple, right?
I suppose, yeah.
I think we had something in yesterday's show.
It seems pretty steady state. There's always some story talking about something that has come to pass. So we're always looking for new sources. So let us know if you find any articles that you think might be of interest here in ohmTown and in Non Sequitur News or any of the other channels. And we'll evaluate it and then integrate it. So at any rate, I am going to SOS the front page.
I did want to note, though, that was an actual photo of the person, right? They had the photo of the person's watch and then the helicopter rescue, and it was good. It was very tailored.
Yeah, it was the person. The rescue. I mean, the pictures on this page are spectacular over at Apple Insider. A picture of the watch, a picture of the rescue, a picture of the person on the beach where they almost drowned by a riptide. Yeah, pretty amazing. So, all right, let me do that SOS call to New South Wales front page over in ohmTown.com. Go over and become a citizen. And that's it, folks. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the sentient AI that's keeping me safe.
Thank you, ohmTown citizens, for joining us for Non Sequitur News. We will see you shortly for several weekly shows.
Yeah, so we're going to be running down all 6 of the shows from here until, whenever we're done. So we take typically about a 15-minute break between shows. I'm going to try and speed that up today. I'm going to go as fast as I can and reset. I do have something that I have to take care of right now because it was just delivered. But we're going to do Reality Hacker, Wanted, WarCrafters, The Continuity Report, Technology Today, and Four Wheel Tech and Rapid Fire. Get through as many of the shows as possible. And if my voice goes out, then we will probably do a show or two tomorrow as a time machine. Anyway, I will. So that's it. See you in a little bit. Hey, the rescue is here.